What's up guys, Wolf here. Welcome to another Diablo 4 build video. I'm going to showcase my best sorcerer build that I'm using right now. I'm currently level 45. I wanted to share this setup because I am absolutely blitzing through the content in this game right now with this overpowered setup. It is absolutely insane. So I'm going to give a quick overview of how this build works, just talk about the skills I'm using, go through the tree, and then you guys can enjoy some gameplay. In relation to aspects, I haven't really put too many aspects on. I do have some interesting ones that I'm keeping for better gear pieces, which I do recommend you do that, especially legendary aspects, as you can only imprint them once. But I really do think this is one of, if not the best builds you can make currently. So I am making use of ice armor. This is unbelievably strong. It forms a barrier absorbing 36% of my base life in damage. While ice armor is active, 5% of my damage dealt is added to its barrier. This is really good because I get regeneration for my mana, which is the primary resource of a sorceress build. As you can see, the ball on the right, the blue one. We need mana to cast skills, to cast spells, should I say. So anything you're going to be using requires that. So this is really good, and it lasts for 6 seconds, which is actually really strong. Now, what I normally do is when I enter an engagement, I will activate this because this will actually give me my mana regeneration. I want this to be activated first, then I can start casting other things. So enemies that hit you while ice armor is active have a 15% chance to become frozen. This is also quite good. So I'd enter an engagement, I would proc my ice armor. The next thing I would do is initiate firewalls, which is arguably the best damage over time skill in the game for sorcerers. This is really good. We get some lucky hit chance as well. But the great thing about this is it's going to keep me alive. I am regenerating my health the more enemies that are burning, which is really strong. I'll show that in the tree shortly. Very good for survivability and damage. The combination is unparalleled in my opinion. So the great thing about this is it's going to be burning them over time, but the more they burn, the more damage they start taking over time, which is really good. So enemies take 25%. This is multiplicative increased burning damage from me while standing in the firewall, which is really good. So when they're in the firewall, it's going to be stacking, but it's multiplicative from other elements as well. So I get mana as well, regeneration, per active firewall up to 25%, which is also multiplicative of other elements. So mana regeneration, my health regeneration is going to be insane, and the damage is just ridiculous, guys, because once I have procced my ice armor, then I put the firewalls around, I will be at the same time, I will be proccing one of the strongest things you can utilizing sorcerer. And I honestly, I think this is more of a pyro build because I feel like the pyro skills are good, but some of the pyro skills aren't as good. That's why I've got some shock like arc lash and things like that. But then what I would do is after putting some firewalls down, I will initiate Inferno, which is really good, and it's going to pull all the enemies towards it. That's actually the main thing. It does a lot of damage, but it pulls them towards it, and when all the enemies are together, I will proc one of the best things in the game, which is a defensive skill, which is Frost Nova. This is unbelievably good. It freezes enemies and it makes them vulnerable. This will stop them all in their tracks, make them vulnerable. They take so much damage, and then what I would do is I will smoke them with a really overpowered fireball, and then because I've got the enchantment from the fireball, it's going to make all of them explode and they just blow up. It's just insane. I'm getting healed, my mana is getting regened. Everything is crazy, and whilst all of this is going on, my arc lash is making the enemies unable to move. This is great against bosses. They actually get stunned, which is really good, and we have some more utility there from this as well, which I'm going to go through shortly. This does huge amounts of damage, and we have got high crit chance with this. And the great thing about arc lash is a combination of something else on the build will allow me to stack up crit chance for all my other skills. So for example, my my fireball will be able to crit, a higher chance to crit. So arc clash with this build is insane. So now that I've explained it in a bit of detail and it told you guys a brief overview of how it works, let's get into the skill tree. Let's take a look. So arc clash is really good. I cannot stress enough how powerful this is. It is just a really nice skill because you can actually utilize this in front of a few enemies and hit a bunch of them at the same time. It's just really good for AoE damage. it's also going to be proccing other things in the build. But honestly, this is unbelievably strong. So make sure you guys give this a try. It also stuns enemies, which is really good. And trust me, when you're hitting bosses, they will get stunned, and it's just easier to take them down as well. And the damage over time, or also I say the area of damage, is good, especially when you bring them all together with the giant serpent, the fire serpent. So something to mention as well is, like I was saying earlier, if we go down here and we have a look, just to show you how it's going to synergize with coursing current. So hitting enemies with the shock skills, which is Arc Clash, increases your critical strike chance by 2%, which is really, really good. So we can actually move this even higher if we wanted to. So this is unbelievably strong. Resets upon getting a critical strike. So it keeps going until your chance gets so high that if you use any other skill, it also counts as a crit. And we can hit huge numbers with Arc Clash, or for example, Fireball, or something like Inferno, which is really, really insanely powerful. It doesn't work with Firewall though, just to mention. So let's carry on going down, so I don't want to make you guys confused. So if we look at some of the other ones, now you can use all of these. It's all subject to your playstyle, so always adapt the build to suit your own playstyle. So for me, if we have a look here, I have got this from my gear. I don't really like Incinerate. It was cool in the beta, but it has been nerfed. Now Fireball is really good. Why? The enchantment effect is great. Look at the bottom there. So every time we get a kill with anything else on our build, it will actually blow them up and they kill enemies around them, which is arguably one of the best. The other enchantment I have got is going to be Arc Clash's enchantment, which is at the bottom there. When you use a cooldown, or when something goes on cooldown, enemies around you are stunned. So when we're on cooldown, enemies will be stunned, which is just really, really good. So Arc Clash and Fireball are very, very good enchantment effects. So this is also nice because in the setup I have got some aspects, or there are some aspects that if you're at full mana, you can shoot this. So that's the great thing about this Fireball. If you shoot one that's maxed out, we can get huge amounts of damage from one Fireball, which spreads. It's kind of like an AoE strike, which is really, really nice. So I definitely recommend giving this a try. It's got quite a decent radius, depending on how far you shoot it from as well. So try keep your distance, but it doesn't really matter. So the explosion's critical strike damage increased by 10%. Each enemy that hits increases bonus by 5%, up to 25%. This is just additive, but it's still really, really good. So moving on to the defensive skills. Now I have got Teleport, which is very good if you don't want to use Ice Armor, but I do recommend using Ice Armor, but make sure you definitely use Frost Nova. This is just overpowered. I tried Flame Shield. I don't enjoy it so much. That's why this cannot really be a full Pyro build, because I'm not using full fire skills. But if we take a look at Ice Armor, like I said before, guys, this is just too good. It's very nice. Make sure you have got this one right here, which enemies that you hit while Ice Armor is active have a 15% chance to become frozen. This is good. You can use the other one, but honestly, I feel like this is really good. You can even have just 1 out of 5. You don't have to have 3 out of 5. But if you want to use Teleport instead of Ice Armor, you can do that, because Teleport can be very, very nice. Also, Frost Nova is just too good to pass up, and make sure when you go here, you go to make them vulnerable. This is a must use. It's just too good. The vulnerability is its own multiplier, so make sure you guys give that a try. Then the Conjuration, I don't have anything here like the Hydra, which I think is good. It kind of takes aggro and it does passive damage, but still, it's not my favorite. I want to do burst damage here. So align the elements. You gain 1% damage reduction against elites for each second you haven't taken damage from one, up to 40%. This increases my survivability immensely. So I definitely recommend you use some of these protection items. So using a cooldown, when you're on cooldown, grants 10% of your maximum life as a barrier for 2 seconds. This is nice as well. Every time you spend 100 mana, which goes really quick, trust me, you spend 100 mana very fast, you gain 5% damage reduction for 5 seconds. I might actually want to increase this because Mana Shield is very, very good. Then I have also got this Inner Flames. Your pyromancy skills deal 9% increased damage while you are healthy. We are going to be healthy all the time because of this right here. We actually get healed. So warmth is great. We get healed whenever things are burning. So this is why this is going to stay up. It's going to give us a lot of damage. And this is multiplicative, guys. Don't be fooled. This is a lot more than what it states, because we have got other multipliers or other things that are affecting this multiplier. Then Crippling Flames. Your pyromancy skills have up to a 5% chance to immobilize enemies. I just wanted to try this, and it's really, really nice. You can also use Devouring Blaze, which is decent considering we're going to have our crit chance up, especially with the Fireball from the actual Arc Clash combination that I mentioned earlier. So just make sure you guys use Firewall. And I've actually got 6 out of 5. As you can see, it does increase. So the next rank, 2,200. It's worth it. Now, this is because I've got item contribution 1 from one of my gear pieces. So you don't have to have 6 out of 5, but 5 out of 5 is just as good. This is just insane, guys. You can consistently and constantly spam this. It's the best damage over time skill in the game for Sorcerer. It's just insane. And we regenerate mana because I've got this activated right here. And don't forget, well, we're going to be getting health. Let's move over here so you guys can see the ultimate skills. So warmth is so nice because every 1 second you heal for 0.6% of your maximum life for each nearby burning enemy. Healing increased to 1.2 from bosses. This is just really, really nice. So I recommend getting at least 1 out of 3 for this, guys. And follow the path here, Fiery Surge. Killing a burning enemy increases your mana regeneration. Like I say, guys, we need mana. It's our primary resource to cast spells. So this is just going to be a must-have. Also, we deal increased burning damage to enemies for each second they remain burning, up to 5%. This is multiplicative. See the X next to the 5%. After 5 seconds, this is good. We can get up to 10% for the next rank. So I might actually do this as well, the skill point I obtain. So coursing currents, hitting enemies with shock skills. So that's going to be Arc Clash. Increases your critical strike chance by 2%. We spoke about this. This is just really, really good, guys. Make sure to give it a try. Then I have gone for combustion on the key passives. So combustion, your burning effects deal 2% multiplicative increased damage per unique source of burning you apply to the enemy, which is just good because we have a lot of sources. Now, if you put the Hydra, this could increase it even more. So I do recommend trying this out. So that's it for the skill tree, guys. I have a lot of gear pieces that I want to talk about as well quickly while we are here. Now, the gear pieces aren't too important. Just make sure you've got some decent DPS on your weapon, some okay stats. As you can see, I have got damage to burning enemies, and I think that is important to try and stack. Also, make sure you craft your gems. For example, I've got this one that gives me more armor, the skull that I've placed on here, and I've also got some maximum life and damage taken over time reduction. Just mitigates the damage, a barrier generation for my ice shield, and maximum life. Just whatever you can put on. It's not the end of the world. Like I said, you got to farm. Once we get over level 50, we start getting better gear, so there's no real need to just go crazy with the gear. As you can see in my stats, if you guys want to go through them, you can pause the video and just have a look and see what I'm rocking. It's not the most important thing. As long as you've got decent gear, like pieces, and then you maybe, that are leveled up and you can go into your skill tree and put what I've kind of put on, then that's all right. But I just wanted to speak about a couple things here. So I have actually got this legendary elementalist circle. This ring is nice. So core all mastery skills, cast at or above 100 mana. This is what I was talking about before. So I've got, I think, about 114. We get 28%. So this is a decent roll. Increased critical strike chance, which is just really, really good. This will increase our strike chance a lot. This will just help us crit a lot more. And also we get this from Choke of Fortune and Legendary Amulet, which is nice. Your lucky hit chance is increased by 18% while you have a barrier active, which is ice armor. So this is just great. I love the synergy. So I do have some aspects that I want to talk about as well here. So we have got offensive aspect of engulfing flames. I'm waiting to put these on. While enemies are affected by more damage over time in their total life, you deal 40% multiplicative increased burning damage to them. This will make this build even stronger, but I didn't want to waste it yet, but I wanted to show you this. This is going to be absolutely insane. So I got the max roll here, so I can't wait to put that on. Also, a hail of meteorites falls during Inferno, which is the giant snake, dealing 110 fire damage on impact. Your meteorites immobilize enemies for 3 seconds. This is insane. I can't wait to put this probably on a two-handed weapon that I've got now, but we'll see how it goes. Also, guys, we have another Hydra here. You can use this as well, but let's go through something else that I wanted to showcase. So if we look at the Codex of Power and we show my class only, there's one that you guys need to get. This is very important. The aspect of control could be really good, but this is one of the strongest we've seen. So deal 5% multiplicative increased damage for each second you stand still. Because of warmth and the fact that we're going to be healing ourselves, we can stand still a lot. 30% multiplicative damage is insane. And you can get it by completing the dungeon Wraithwind Wilds in Skosglen. So make sure you get this. I'm going to place this on one of my gear pieces. I'm deconstructing to get materials. So once I do, I'm definitely going to use this. But there are many other aspects you can put. It's just dependent on what gear pieces and what aspects you want to do. If you want to do it now, or how far along the lines of your character are you? What level are you? If you got the right pieces, go for it. But just be careful. You can only imprint legendary aspects once. The other ones, the normal aspects, you can do it unlimited amounts of times, but it is quite expensive. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this build video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. How are you going to run yours? And I'll see you guys very soon in the next video. Peace out.